authority to do it. You say, what are you talking about? Well, I could pull out a .357 Magnum and stick it between your eyes and say, give me all your money. Now, I certainly have the power at that point to take your money, but I do not have the authority to steal your money. Government today may have a great deal of power, but according to the Bible and according to the Constitution of the United States, the authority of the government is limited. Secondly, the Bible is teaching us in 1 Kings chapter 21 that the integrity of the land is greater than the power of the state. Now, God said, the land shall not be sold forever. Why? He says, the land is mine. One of the concepts that we have lost is the concept taught very plainly in Psalm 24 and verse 1. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. You see, this creation belongs to God. He's the sovereign owner. Did you know that according to the Bible, God oftentimes dispels people from His creation, just like you would dispel a renter from your house who did not pay his rent? For instance, let me just read to you very quickly from Psalm 136, beginning there with verse 17. Psalm 136, verse 17. To Him, that is to God, who smote great kings, for His mercy endureth forever, and slew famous kings, for His mercy endureth forever. Sihon, king of the Amorites, for His mercy endureth forever, and Og, the king of Bashan, for His mercy endureth forever, and gave their land for an heritage, for His mercy endureth forever, even an heritage unto Israel His servant, for His mercy endureth forever. Now, why did God dispossess Sihon and Og and their people from the land? Simply because they were pagan, they were wicked, they were rebellious, they were ungodly, and they refused to give God the honor and glory that was due unto His name. So just like the man who owns the house kicks the bad renter out, God literally dispossessed them. You see, this earth does not belong to the government. This earth belongs to God. This earth does not belong to the local taxing authority. It belongs to God. God has never given His earth to the government to tax, to pollute, or to destroy. The earth belongs to God. So the Bible teaches us very plainly that the integrity of the land is greater than the power of the state. Thirdly, the Bible teaches us that the family's heritage is more important than that of the state. You see, Ahab, as the head of the state, the head of the civil government, did not have the authority to dispossess Naboth from his property. Now, the word property literally means that which is peculiar to oneself, that which belongs to one, that which is exclusively your own. The cry of the American Revolution was property and freedom. You see, property is an aspect of freedom. If you cannot own property in one sense of the word, then you are not free. If your land can be confiscated, if it can be taken from you, then you are not truly free. You say, but Pastor Weaver, I own my own property. And my answer is no. You do not own your own property. You say, well, I'll show you the deed. Well, whether you could show me the deed or not is immaterial. If you think you own your property, you just stop paying property tax. And after a few years, we'll see who the true owner of your property is, because the state will come along and confiscate your property for non-payment of taxes and will sell it in order to get their taxes. Now, I want you to understand that when the War of Independence was going on, the Americans appealed to the Canadians to join with us and to fight England. And one of the arguments that the Americans used was this: If we do not stop the British Crown now, the next thing you know is they'll be trying to tax our property. You see, property tax is really a rather recent innovation. Moreover, it's one of the most ungodly of all taxes because it is claiming ownership of God's earth. It is literally a dethronement of God and an enthronement of the state. It may surprise you to find out who the largest property owner in America is. May I tell you? It is the federal government. There are some states that are 95% owned by the government. Many states 50 and 60% owned. Some states only about 2 or 3%. I think the overall total is over 30% of the land in America is owned by the federal government. In other words, the state then is literally claiming to be God. It is claiming ownership. It is claiming control of the property. Now let me show you how wicked and how ungodly this is. You see, government today is trying to be parent and child. You say, I don't understand that. Well, the parent is supposed to provide for the children. And thus government then comes along and they say, well, we are a welfare state. We will give you the food stamps and we'll give you the Medicare and we'll give you the Medicaid and we'll give you free public education. We'll give you this and we'll give you that. And so they try to be a parent and give to every individual. However, you die and all of a sudden now the government comes along and claims to be the eldest child, following the law of primogeniture, and they now want a double portion. They want that eldest child's portion in the inheritance tax. So they're claiming to be parent and they're claiming to be child. And thus they are in reality the corrupter of the family and the corrupter of the values and the truth that God has established. Government is to be a ministry of justice and not a ministry of welfare. There can only be one God, that is the true God, and that one God sets the limits for government. That one God tells us that the integrity of the land is greater than the power of the state and the heritage of the family is greater than the state. Let me just share with you this thought. Do you realize, and this is of course no condemnation to people who live in these types of homes, but one of the largest selling homes in America is the mobile home, with the emphasis upon the word mobile. Do you realize, even back when I was a boy, there were families who were born, lived, and died on the family farm. There were people who never even got off the farm. But isn't it amazing? There are very few people that own their own home place today. If I were to ask you, do you own your home place? The answer would come back no. Do you realize within 200 years of our nation, we're almost a people without roots. We're a people without a heritage. Isn't it amazing? Most of us will not fight or die for anything now because we have nothing worth fighting for and nothing worth dying for. Men in time past would die for their land and they would die for their homes. But today, that is being taken from us. And God is telling us that the power of government is limited. Now, let me hasten along and show you that there's another truth taught in 1 Kings chapter 21, and that is this, that there are wicked, ungodly, confirmed, determined individuals who are out to overthrow the society of God and the people of Jesus Christ. When Ahab came in and turned his face to the wall, Jezebel, his wife, looked at him and said, "What's wrong with you?" Well, he said, "Naboth won't give me his vineyard." She said, "Doth you not govern Israel? What's wrong with you? You're the king. Act like it." In other words, take what you want. You exercise arbitrary power. You exercise totalitarian power. If you want